welcome to the Northern Knits Podcast. We are two friends in fiber who knit, crochet, craft, and talk anything in between.
Everything. It's just everything.
It's episode 192. My name is Jocelyn. My co-host is
Diana.
And I currently call Winnipeg, Manitoba home. And Diana.
I call Waterloo, Ontario home. I almost said Manitoba. When you move to a new city during a pandemic and you can't get out much, it's really hard to start feeling like you live there. I still live in Manitoba in my head. Like it makes no difference.
You just traded 4 walls for 4 walls.
I know, and like the layout of this apartment is even like basically the same as Winnipeg. So it's like,
oh no.
It doesn't help. Like you wake up at 4 a.m. going, aha, and you're like, wait, why is the door over there? It should be over there, and just like weird stuff like that. And it's just,
yeah. Crazy lady. All right. Well, I've had a crazy weekend, so I have 2 cups on the go. So while Diana tells you what we're going to cover this week, I'm going to continue to drink my soup out of my mug.
This week we've got What's in Our Cup, Cool Threads, Woolly Workings, Wool Gathering, and Kniterature.
Ta-da! Because Jocelyn still reads a lot. Now I'm going to make aggressive clinging noises with my metal spoon in my ceramic mug to restir my soup. And I will apologize to nobody for nothing. Okay, I have 2 mugs on the go.
What is in your mugs? What are
They're giant mugs. I am double fisting the Jocelyn way.
So what liters of liquid are you drinking?
Liters is a good reference point. These things are huge. In my Christmas mug, I have some decaf French roast coffee because Jocelyn really can't do caffeine still. I tried the other day. No.
Bad plan?
Bad plan. It was about 2 months without caffeine, so I got to stay caffeine free still for a while. In my Sailor Moon mug is literally a cup of miso soup. I found a corn-free instant miso soup, and I like the idea of cuppo soups, but I hate the extra packaging. And these guys just send you the packet to use your own mug. So it's just the packet with the mix in it for your mug.
Yeah.
And then it's in a small rectangular box.
Much less plastic.
So, much less plastic. So you get 4 servings per box.
All right.
So I was like, done. And it's not an obscene amount of plastic.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And
as far as an instant miso soup goes, it's fine. Perfectly respectable cup of soup.
I mean, isn't regular miso soup like kind of instant? You just sort of take some of the... I don't actually know. I'm just making stuff up.
This is me shaking my head to indicate that you are incorrect in this assumption.
I thought you just kind of took some miso paste and watered it down, throw some tofu in there with some seaweed and like call it a day, but no?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
I've been misguided.
You're pretty close.
It involves a lot more cooking?
It's not quite as fast as boil a kettle of water, pour hot water over, mix and cup.
Fair enough.
When I do the homemade miso, it takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to do it because I do it low and slow, and I use the medium soft tofu. So you gotta stagger your start times, but I use dried noru, like the dried seaweed. So I gotta soak that up to a consistency. And dissolve the miso paste. And there's another thing you're supposed to add into it that I don't always remember to put in because I don't always get to the stores where I can buy it to make it better. But yeah, but if I do that, I make a couple of days worth and put it in the fridge. So this is just really fast.
Fair. I definitely had a cup of the chicken noodle soup.
Mm-hmm.
That was dinner the other night because I just could not be bothered.
I did not have time. It needed to be quick, and I needed to be able to record while eating it. So it was this or toast. So I made my choice, and we're living with it, folks.
Fair enough.
Oh, goodness.
In my also rather large, but not quite as large cup, it's still the largest cup that I have. I have a new to me kind of chamomile tea. I think it was a chamomile and citrus.
That
Can't for
sounds
the
good.
life of me remember the brand. A British friend had been gifted a set of tea and was like, well, this is great, but I'm British. I only like one kind of tea. So I got a bunch of tea.
I only like one kind of tea.
Chamomile was not it. So,
Apparently.
nope. I am English. I drink English breakfast. That is all. Yeah.
Is that what we're going to say for Mr. B? He must be British because he only likes one kind of tea.
He's a tea purist.
It is. Now, he will have Irish breakfast or English breakfast, but he does love the incredibly oversteeped Earl Grey. Just don't know why.
I did a university degree on oversteeped Earl Grey, so
Oh,
I understand.
I don't get it. So, he can
That's
drink
okay.
whatever he wants. It is fine. All right. So I suppose that moves us to cool threads.
Cool threads, yes. What have you been wearing? This
All
is
the
very
comfortable things.
all
Really
the
tired.
comfortable things.
All the comfortable things. It's
Fair.
been a well, Manitoba does real winters. We're still sitting in like the minus sort of 6 range, so it's not like so cold that you need all the layers. But I have been enjoying wearing my boyfriend cardigan, which is a crochet cardigan I finished earlier this year, and the mallow cardigan because they just kind of go over whatever I'm wearing, and away I go. And we do things.
Sounds like what I use my swag sweaters for. The company swag sweaters. Like, I'm cold. This is handy.
That is exactly it. Yeah. I mean, right now, they're both handily in the laundry hamper to get washed. Well, the mallow's beside the laundry hamper because it's a hand wash, but you know what I mean. So that's that. Otherwise, it's your usual assortment of socks and things. It's not like I go anywhere, so the plethora of shawls I own are not getting a lot of use this year.
That's fair.
You figured out which fade you're wearing this week?
I pulled out my Find Your Fade, which is the shawl.
She was like, oh, I wore my fade. I got all excited. She's like, the shawl. I got less excited.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because there's the Comfort Fade cardi and the So Faded pullover and
Yep.
the Find
Find your
Fade,
fade, free your
Free Your
fade.
Fade. There's too many fades. So it's the
Those
fade.
It's just the
The
ones
shawl
I
or the
know.
sweater, the big one or the little one. I don't know. Nobody knows. My brain's faded.
Yeah, your brain's faded. So it was your shawl that you wore. It's a nice big shawl. I know. It's currently my backdrop.
It's so nice. You just like throw it around a few times and you never wear it the same way twice because you always wrap it differently and it's all the colors and it just looks really great with like I feel really badass going out with my my leather jacket and my hand knit very colorful shawl all like draped around but like one end hanging off over shoulders like yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I look cool in my
what
head. I
makes
don't
you
know if
feel like a
I
cool
don't know
person.
I don't know if I actually look as cool. I'm certain I don't look as cool as I think I do in my head, but it makes me happy.
I am such a rebel. I wear my hand knits with leather.
Heck yeah. I like wearing all parts of the sheep. It's a lambskin leather jacket. Too.
Oh no, is it? Oh no. I didn't know it was lambskin. Oh jeez, Diana.
Yes, I wear all parts of the cute fluffy creatures.
Okay, that jacket shawl combo just brings me much more joy now.
It's a really wonderful soft leather. It's so comfy.
Oh gosh. Okay. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I've touched that jacket. It's a really nice soft jacket.
Really nice jacket. I plan on keeping that jacket for like 10 years.
Good plan. Oh goodness.
I forgot I
That's
wore one more thing
hilarious.
this week.
Oh, you wore one more thing? Sure, add it on.
I also wore my flax sweater.
Oh, I like that
Not that I
sweater.
wore it out anywhere, but it made an appearance on some meetings. Because, it's important to make sure that all of my coworkers know that I can knit.
I guess. I was just saying, it's like I'm excited for sometime like really late 2021 when yarn on the go becomes a thing again.
Oh my gosh. It'll be a glorious day.
There'll be so much yarn on the going on our Instagram. It will be obscene. It will
I
be
went to this
obscene.
Starbucks and this Starbucks and this Starbucks.
We're just gonna chain coffee drink decaf throughout the city. That's how it's gonna work. I'm going to live at the Forks. Uh, I will be very excited when we're at levels where it's safe to go out again.
Uptown Waterloo, I'm coming for you when everything's open again.
Yeah,
It's got so many great patios that I just haven't been able to.
it's, and I know it's not going to kill me and it's not going to last forever, but it's going to feel really nice when I can get back out.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's fine. All right. Oh man. Suppose we've gotten to that stage in the storytelling process where I have an obscene amount of knitting compared to you.
1, 2. Well, you've got 5 to my 3.
Oh hey. Yep. That's normal.
Yeah.
Wasn't I supposed to be focusing on things? All right. I suppose that means I go first twice and then we alternate, right? Can I
Do we have a
math?
formula for this? I don't know.
I feel like that's our formula. I feel like I do 2 things and then we just kind of rotate back and forth.
Sure.
We'll say it's a formula. I had to get some Christmas gifting stuff done. All right. So last week, while we were recording, I was working on a hat. It was the 1.5 hour hat. That's the name of the pattern. It decidedly took more than an hour and a half because I messed up a bunch.
Oh dear.
Not the hat's fault, entirely the human's fault. I wasn't paying attention. I did finish the hat.
Ooh.
So this is 2 strands of acrylic held double. One is a very pretty cheerful yellow, and one is a navy blue. The navy blue is Bernat Premium, and the yellow is Impeccable for loops and threads. And I made a marled 1.5 hour hat that took more than an hour and a half. And I made a little kind of floppy ginormous pom-pom for the top of it. It's not fully trimmed, but I told Mom she'd have to, the mom of the kid this is going to, that she'd have to do the trimming for it because I cannot see the strands of the navy blue to do that safely. So the only things I added to the pattern was I crocheted a little navy blue rim as a decorative detailing on the bottom.
Cute.
And it is an adult ladies medium and it is for a 15-year-old. So just in case, I made sure it would go on my teenager's head, so on my niece's head, and I folded the brim up twice. So it's a double thick brim when it gets colder and slightly slouchy if it's not.
That'll be so cozy.
Oh, yeah. My niece asked when hers was coming. I said, maybe next year. All I have left is this. I had 2.5 balls of the yellow and I had 1 ball of the Bernat Premium. The Bernat Premium is the larger ball. I did have enough left over. It did not take me nearly 3 balls of yarn for a hat, guys. I made a scarf.
Oh, jeez.
There is no pattern for the scarf. It's just a scarf. I suppose I could do a tutorial or write something up for people, but I literally just made this up as I went along and made a bulky crocheted scarf.
Double crochet with stripes every so often?
Yep.
I really like
that is thank you. It is longer than my arm span, which I figured would be okay, but again, just in case, I took it upstairs and wrapped it around said teenager, and it fits great. So done and done. That is 1 Christmas present complete. I now have to make for her little sister, who's now a middle child, and then I have to make for the baby boy. I put the baby boy off to last because really
if it's a little late, he really won't care.
He was born in September, so like he's not that big. He won't know the difference. So if I'm making him like a 6-month or a year-old size, it's going to take me about the same amount of time it's supposed to take me to do the hat, or it took me to do the hat. So I wasn't super worried about it. But I did get one done this week. So that means next week I gotta try to get the other set done, which will be the same idea. It's gonna be 2 yarns held together on a bulky, and I did it on an 8mm hook, and I will do a hat and I will make a scarf hopefully. Reversing colors though, the green that I have to use, because the younger sister likes like minty greens, and I have like a spring green, which is about as close as you can get this time of year. That's Burnett Premium, and the black I'm holding it with is impeccable. Changing it up, people. We're changing it up. The reason I can tell that is because it's right off camera, sitting on my printer, waiting for me to start. Oh, but it's got Christmas crunch time. I gotta get some stuff done. I also want to make another sweater for the littlest Copen, because I had a couple of friends of mine had babies this year. There's gift thingies going on. And one 4-year-old boy sweater I still need to do. So thankfully the littlest C is only going to be a year. So she's currently wearing 9 months. So like I can knit her like a 13-month or 14-month, and that's still not that big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
so
shouldn't take very long at all.
Shouldn't take very long. And I'll do it in worsted on You had to know I was gonna poke you. I won't be doing fingering weight nothing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have
goodness.
reset my expectations.
All right, which brings us back to you, because I have 3 other things.
All right. Well, since we kind of just mentioned it, I will talk about the Hufflepuff Mittens.
To mention it, I think I was just making fun of you.
So, the expectations that I have reset, I decided it was a good idea to design my own pattern, hope like heck it worked, and knit 2 child-sized pairs of colorwork Harry Potter house mittens 4 weeks before Christmas, and still mail them on time to another province.
Please insert laughter track here.
Yeah, so I have reset my expectations. The Hufflepuff mitten that I have started is going to be the test knit to make sure that my pattern actually, freaking works, and I know how to knit a mitten, because I totally know how to knit mittens. I've definitely knit those before, and I haven't screwed this up like 4 times already.
I feel like flashbacks to your brother Mitten happening right now.
Oh yeah. That wasn't even a different. That was just super basic mitten too, and I kept screwing it up.
I believe there was a rage
in my memory.
There was a rage quit involved at a dinner at Delicious.
You were correct. I had blocked all of that. I had completely just out of my. Well, thank you for reminding me that I hate making mittens.
I mean, there was no point in me telling you after you'd already said yes to the kids before you'd started the project, because you just would have put off starting it. I'm like, well, I mean, you said you would. So if I'd been there at the time, I would have been like, you hate making those, right?
I'd forgotten.
Maybe offer to make them a hat or something instead. You like hats.
Yeah. Well, we're too late now.
Yep. You are committed, and you've been committed for a while, so.
Yeah. So this Hufflepuff mitten that I've already started, that I will talk about all my mistakes in a moment, because it's learning. Yep. It's not a failure, it's learning.
It's learning.
That is going to be my test knit, and then I will do the Ravenclaw mittens for a birthday in January, which seems far more manageable. And then the Hufflepuff mittens just have to get done. Well, the birthday for those, I believe, is in May, but they're not really useful in May, so I'll probably still try to get them both done for January.
Well,
but,
better if
January.
you do them. even if you do and you just get the Ravenclaw done for January, you can still gift them in May. Just make sure you also put in a gift that, he doesn't have to wait months to wear.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other danger is because he's
They grow.
8 and they grow fast.
Says the one with a 14-year-old who's almost 5'10".
Yeah, like I'm making these mittens to fit like an extra small adult, according to some of the patterns that I've looked at and consulted.
Should give him a bit of time.
Yeah, he might get, 1.5 winters out of them.
Oh, she was complaining today. She feels a little stretched and her skin feels a little tight, which happens just before you put on a bunch of height again. So I'm like, cool. You get to wear those pants for at least 2 months. It's fine.
I have never experienced that. I never grew quite that quickly. Thought my feet were broken for a while. Those grew very quickly. But I never grew height-wise that quickly.
Oh, she's grown quite quickly. I did the same thing, and it was you just ache for about like a year and a half. But I mean, I went from like 5'2" to 5'10" in about a year. Like it just
God.
I grew really fast. So, and then I stopped and I was done. And it took a very long time for everybody else to catch up with me.
Good grief. Yeah, no wonder you hurt.
Yeah.
I grew 2 shoe sizes in a summer, 1 foot at a time.
And again, it hurts because your body's stretching as fast as possible. It's not super pleasant.
Anyway, mittens. So, mistake the first that I have made on these mittens was the colorwork chart was 30 stitches to a side, so 60 stitches total. So yes. I cast on 60 stitches.
Yep.
Not remembering to account for the fact that you increase for the thumb gusset, and so the bottom of the chart for the colorwork is not, in fact, 60 stitches, is 54.
Mm-hmm.
So this cuff is 60 stitches, and then I knit a little bit more and decreased down to 54 stitches. Fix that mistake. The next mistake is a study in color dominance.
Wow.
Which hand you hold the yarn in makes a big freaking difference. Because I knit like an inch of this, and I'm like, wow, this black really isn't showing up. Is it just the yarn being weird? Or like, so I switched hands, because I knit one color in each hand. So I switched which hand was holding each color, and suddenly the design's just like popping off the mitten, and it looks just so much better, and like there's the palm side of the mitten. So yeah, it makes a big difference. Color dominance. It is a real thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And then I'm not certain if the thumb is a mistake or not yet. I'm so afraid that it's not big enough because it really doesn't seem like it is. But all of the patterns I've consulted say that it is.
Stick it on your hand.
Gonna go with it. Well, it's really hard to tell right now because this is just the gusset.
So, okay, you're gonna have to wait till you.
So this is 9 stitches, and then you'd pick up 9 stitches plus like 2 stitches in the gaps on each side for a total of 22 stitches. And all the patterns I've consulted are between 20 and 24 stitches at fingering weight. So 22 stitches should be right. It just seems so small. But I'm also trying to guesstimate how big an 8-year-old's thumb is based on my own hand and not having intricately studied an 8-year-old's thumb.
I'm not sure there are people out there outside of people who currently have 8-year-olds now looking at their children's hands have studied in great detail.
I've never knit a child's mitt before, so I don't know how big to make it.
And they're all different sizes. They're not exactly. 8 is not a size definition. 8 is an age definition.
It's making me sad. So I'm just kind of guesstimating based on knowing that my hands are really tiny for an adult and guessing that if I make them so that the mittens are just a little bit small on me, that they'll be the right size with room to grow on a child.
Or they're a little big and we can put extra mittens on before those ones go on. One of the two will happen.
Yeah. Also true.
Layering is a thing that happens.
Yeah, so, mistakes have been made. I'm going to keep going with this mitten just to find all the other mistakes in this pattern. But then I will re-knit this mitten to be the good copy.
I can't believe
some
you've
point.
forgotten how much trouble your brother's mitten gave you. You don't enjoy knitting mittens.
I love finished mittens though. Like the mittens that I made myself are like my most worn thing. I love having them. I hate knitting them.
The ones you made for the knitting group, like a year or two before that, you were grumpy the whole time you had to make them. But
that was because I made like four pairs in like a month.
Now,
and I was tired of knitting the same damn thing.
Whose fault was that? We bought the yarn for that in July. It is nobody's fault you didn't cast on till November.
Me and my brain, we don't get along well with mittens. So, learning. Woo! This is my learning. So yes, self-drafted pattern that's in the other room. If anybody cares to look at it, I guess I can take some high quality pictures and put them on the project page. This yarn is very cheap yarn from Michael's because it was the only thing I could find on short notice that had the colors I needed. It is...
Doesn't mean it's bad yarn. It just means it's what you found.
No. I mean that in the sense that I wanted to support local yarn shops, but they didn't have anything I needed in stock and it was going to take too long to get in, and Michael's just had it, so.
That's fair.
This is Wool-like by Loops and Threads. It is a acrylic nylon blend. It's very small, or very soft. That's the S word that I want. It is very small. It's very thin, for it is a fingering weight yarn, but it's soft, which is what I was trying to say in that sentence.
Oh, your wordage is strong today. Whew.
I have taken a lot of stairs with heavy things this weekend. That apparently has made my brain tired.
Okay, sure.
It's my story. I'm sticking to it.
All right. So long as you have continuity in your explanation, that is the part that matters the most.
I don't know if I have continuity, maybe consistency, maybe.
All right. I will talk about the only other crocheted thing that I worked on, and it wasn't even really working on that much. Before I left to go visit my parents for 2 months, I had crocheted a teddy bear, but all I had done was body parts. Just had a handful of body parts and a bear. So I sewed it together. You will notice she's short an ear because the bloody cat ran off with it.
Oh no. So it's just in the back corner somewhere?
I've not had time to recrochet her ear. I will recrochet her ear and then sew it on this week. But I have this is my second stuffy ever. Third stuffy ever? It's gotta be like my third or fourth stuffy because I made some Halloween stuffies. But this was the second one I crocheted. I just didn't sew her together till this week. And then I gave her a little decorative bow. I felt she needed something.
She's very cute.
No idea. Some sort of red acrylic yarn because it came out of my scrap bucket. I have enough red yarn. I'm just going to make another ear because I don't know where her ear went. So she's been sitting here with only one ear for a couple of days, which is great because
from being done.
If you were a member on the Patreon, you'll remember that I posted a photo where I had sewed on the second foot sideways.
Oh dear.
I had to take the second foot off and re-sew it back on. I literally sewed this together. There was no crocheting. There was no just hand sewing some body parts to a bear, guys. But it does count as work, so on it came. And now it just sort of sits here short one ear until I make her ear for her. It's just what it was, so that's how it worked. All right, that was it. That one also has a project page. Weird, but it's got one. It's not normal for me to have project pages, guys.
Whew, okay. I have not succeeded in finishing this row, but that's okay.
Cool. What's next for you?
Let me put the needle caps on here. The Comfort Fade Cardi, as opposed to any of the other fades that we mentioned. this shawl collar is immense.
It's big. It's big.
Like, I am holding here the shoulders that you pick up the stitches from, and this shawl collar keeps going for 102 rows.
Yes, it does. What row are you up to? You were in the 40s last week.
Yes, I am almost done 74 now.
Woohoo!
I am 3/4 of the way through this shawl collar. There's still more shawl collar. There's so much collar.
It's a lot of collar.
It really is. It's, oh gosh. But it's gonna be so lovely. I can't even try it on, and it makes me sad because
You're so close.
so close.
So close.
But it'll be all beautiful, and then I will just not weave in any of my ends for months because there's so many ends, and it seems like a very daunting task, and it's making me sad to think about.
If you just weave it in the ends that people will see,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if it takes you several months to weave in the other ends. That's not the point.
Yeah. So it's gonna be the bottom edges and the sleeves, and
Yep.
the rest can just chill.
That's what I do. I mean, they get woven in eventually. I'm able to take my time about it. That's all.
So yeah, plugging away, getting
Plugging
there.
away?
Maybe next week. Maybe next week.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You'll
Well,
have a
lot of my
finished
knitting.
object?
Maybe. A lot of my knitting time yesterday was eaten up by the fact that I was holding ice on my hand.
Oh yeah, because you whacked it between your desk and the brick wall.
Yeah. So let me spin you a tale very quickly.
Let me spin you a tale.
Let me spin you a tale. Weave a yarn. Let me weave a yarn. It's a tale of woe.
Okay.
So I ordered a thing and I went out to pick it up, and I had, because of contactless pickups, I had a specified time I had to go out and pick it up. So I pressed the button for the elevator. No light, no ding, no nothing. The elevators aren't working. Okay, fine. So down 11 flights of stairs to the parking garage, get in the car, heading out, and like 3 blocks away, the delivery people call and tell me that my desk from Shopify has finally arrived. So I'm calling Chris and like, go sit in the lobby with this desk that they can't bring up the elevator for us because the elevator isn't working. So just go camp in the lobby by this thing and I'll be back in 20 minutes.
Yep.
So I got my order, I come back, and the elevators still aren't working. And this desk is a nearly solid, I think, chunk of wood for the surface of the desk. And it is a box. Like it's about yay thick and like yay long of like metal and electronics, because it's a standing desk that goes up and down. So this box is heavy. And then there's just like a spare metal bar that I don't actually know what it's for. So there's 3 things, 2 of which require 2 people, and 10 flights of stairs, and no elevator.
We wanted weight training, right?
So at some point, heaving all this stuff up the stairs, because we'd take one thing up 3 or 4 flights and then take the other thing up 3 or 4 flights, and then just back and forth up 10 flights of stairs. But at some point, we got a little sloppy around one of the corners, and my hand got jammed between the corner of this solid wood and like the brick wall of the stairwell. So I've got a really nice bruise on my hand. It's great. Fortunately, you can't really. Oh, you can actually see it a little bit. Yeah, it goes all the way through. It hurts.
You did a good job.
So I spent the rest of yesterday with ice on my hand, not knitting. But we got the desk up in one piece.
Well, that's good. And seeing as you're moving in January, you decided not to put that together?
I probably won't bother putting it together because we just have to take it apart in a month anyway.
Yeah, that seems a little silly.
And then the table that I'm currently using as my desk, we have no place to put it, so So probably it'll just hang out in the hallway where leaning against the wall where it is right now for the next month, and then it can go to its new home.
Not the end of the world. A month will pass by so fast.
Yep.
So fast.
Not
All
fast
right.
enough.
Well, I suppose that means I should talk about my flat white sweater, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Have you won the race?
No, I have not won the race.
Oh, I'm still in the race. I haven't lost yet.
I have Christmas knitting, which really it's just how level a playing field can we give Diana is really what this goes for, guys. So the bet was, can I knit a whole sweater in the time it takes Diana to knit a collar on the So Faded cardigan?
Comfort fade.
Comfort Fade cardi? Whatever.
Yes, the So Faded was the pullover.
That's the pullover, right. The answer is maybe. I've got just past the elbow length on one sleeve. I don't knit sleeves very fast. That's right. I did a whole body of a sweater, which is like 14 times as much knitting. But I've only gone through half of a sleeve.
That even works. That makes no sense.
I find sleeve knitting so draining. And then I've got the sweater in my lap and I get hot. And you know how grumpy I get when I get warm.
True.
I am like a giant child when I'm warm. I'm grumpy. I don't like it. I pout like I'm 4. It's just bad. So I have been slowly making progress on my decreases on my sleeve. Whether or not I will finish this before Diana finishes hers, who knows? It's anybody's race still at this point. If I could pull through and buckle down, I could get it done. But I did not have as much time to knit this weekend as I was hoping to have. So I lost several hours that I could have been knitting, doing other stuff. So I'm actually working on it while we record.
I have a chance.
You've got a chance still.
I only have 27 more rows plus like 20 stitches.
Mm-hmm. No, you've got a really good chance to pull it out of the park and beat me. You can do it.
Ooh.
I have a whole sleeve and a half still. We see how long the one sleeve took me.
I have a chance. Oh, I might win.
Yeah, especially since Vlogmas starts on Tuesday.
I might actually have a chance. Oh my gosh. Well, that's something.
Yeah, that's a thing. That happens. Oh, goodness. So that's how much progress I got done on my flat white. I am knitting my flat white out of a beautiful winter blue green from Knit Picks in their Wool of the Andes colorway, and the snowflake colorwork yoke pattern. It's a lot of wordage, isn't it? It's done in a contrasting cream color, also Wool of the Andes from Knit Picks. So as always, when I knit in the round, it's inside out. But look, there's a little bit of color work in there. Got some snowflakes going on.
Pretty.
So here's hoping I get finished before Diana finishes, 20 some odd rows on a shawl collar. Holy Hannah. Yikes.
It's a real race.
It's a real race this week. We don't talk about this. I don't mention it on the Patreon. Diana doesn't talk. We are absolutely dead silent about it. It is a complete surprise every week. I was like, oh man, she's gonna finish. She's gonna have panicked and gone, Jocelyn can do 2 sleeves in a week. Go fast.
Oh no, I got distracted.
Oh, like heavens, I was ready for you to pull up a completed sweater and put it on. And I was gonna be like, cool, you won. I couldn't do it.
No, not yet. Maybe next week.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure that's probably what you were thinking. God, Joss is just gonna have focused and done her 2 sleeves.
Oh, I was 100% expecting a finished sweater.
You were like, 2 finished sweaters, and I went, no. No, I don't care. The answer is no. All right, so I have 1 project left.
So do I. I don't remember.
I'm with you. But
Who's turn is it to do a project?
I just finished my flat white sweater talk, so that would be you.
Right, it's my turn. Okay, I can process things. So I got a thing in the mail this week. And I was so certain that it was going to be my advent calendar from Jocelyn. It
You
was
sent me a
not.
message and I was so excited because I so thought it was my advent calendar for you too.
I absolutely thought it was that. But it was not. But it was still yarn, so it's not a total loss.
No, it's not, because I want some of that flippin' yarn.
So I guess about a week ago, I discovered that there is a sheep farm about 20 minutes drive north of me that they grow their sheep. Their sheep have sheep.
They grow
What is
their
the verb
sheep.
I want? What's the verb I want?
It's a sheep, not a carrot. They have herds of sheep.
Yeah. Anyway, they keep sheep, produce sheep for purposes that are not wool, but they happen to also produce reasonably nice wool. I believe it's Dorset is the breed.
Okay.
But mainly they breed them for like meat
Slaughter.
and stuff. I don't know.
The word is slaughter.
I was going to try to remember more specific products, but I couldn't. But they also have reasonably nice fleeces, so they sell off the fleeces, and because the fleeces are not like their main thing, it's like actually quite cheap. But they also they get their yarn spun and everything and processed in mills. One of the mills is the Briggs and Little mill in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland. One of those on the East Coast somewhere.
It's east of me, but that doesn't mean anything. You're east of me.
Nova Scotia, maybe.
I'm not sure if it's that east.
Anyway, the Briggs and Little mill, or also there's one in Pennsylvania that, whilst in the States, it's still in the local fiber shed, apparently, because apparently Pennsylvania is close to here. Anyway, point being,
I feel like geography Diana at school is just shaking her head at you in your inability to know your geography.
no, it's just American geography. Like, I know where America is. I don't know any of the states that I haven't been to because it's not important to me.
I'm gonna buy you like a child's primer
I knew them
geography
all
of
at one
North
point.
America.
I memorized them all for a test in high school and then went, okay, great, I'm never going to need to know any of this again, and promptly forgot all of
Turns
it
out
except for like New
you were
York,
wrong.
California, Nevada, North Dakota,
Nevada?
like the ones that I've been to.
That's so random. Nevada. I'm like,
Las
okay.
Vegas. Vegas is in Nevada. Anyway, the point of the story was local farm, Canadian wool, and they conveniently had just done a shop update like 3 days earlier. So I bought a sweater's worth of yarn. So I looked at some like bulky weight sweater patterns to get an idea of how much yarn I would need for an oversized bulky sweater idea that I've had kicking around in my head, because of course I'm designing another pattern because they, that's going so well with the mittens. But I calculated that I needed like 7 with a healthy amount of insurance yarn.
Yeah.
7 of these cakes. Not realizing that one of these cakes is the size of my head. I've got 7 of these.
It's also going to disappear really fast because it's bulky.
I guess, but it still seems like a heck of a lot of yarn. Where's the outside strand here? This is their bulky, which is 5 strands of roving, basically. Let's get it to show up here.
Oh, I managed it earlier when you were showing me.
We did manage it early. There we go. Yeah, so it's 5 strands of just roving. So if you tug on it, it pulls apart. But once you knit it up, as of course I have already done, I picked this up this afternoon, and of course I've already knit a swatch because I'm really pumped about the sweater idea I have.
I want you to show people exactly how stiff that swatch is.
Yeah, so I don't normally knit at bulky weight, so my needle size selection was pretty limited. So I picked up my 8 mils as like, I don't know. And yeah, I had a drapey sweater in mind.
There's no drape, guys. Like that thing is
it doesn't drape. There's no drape. It's just stiff. It's so stiff.
It's holding its own shape.
So This is the right gauge for a sweater. It's a great gauge for a hat. I will probably have leftovers. I'd probably make a hat or like mittens out of this because like it feels nice.
You don't like making mittens. Were you
I
not
like
here?
Having mittens.
Like
I
20 minutes before?
Mittens. I like having them though.
Okay, I just don't want to hear any complaining.
Oh no, you still hear about all the complaining. It's fine. Anyway, this is so freaking warm. Like it's reflecting all of the heat on my. Wow, that's like just stunningly warm. Wow.
You looked so smexy with that rectangular piece of white fabric just draped on your head.
But it's like it's not merino soft.
No.
This is. Let's angle this better. There we go. So yeah, it's not merino soft. It's got a little bit of a tooth to it, but you can definitely wear it next to your skin as long as it's not too sensitive. Like I probably wouldn't want it right up next to my neck, but a hat or mittens or like the sleeves on a sweater would be totally fine. But I probably wouldn't want to do it out of a cowl out of it. Or like
personally, look forward to test knitting that for you.
Is my idea. So here's my idea. It's an oversized drop shoulder boat neck sweater. Like I'm gonna do 2 stockinette rectangles with some ribbing at the bottom, and then just like sew it together.
Yeah.
And kind of eyeball the size that I want for sleeves. Pick up some stitches, and the sleeves are gonna be the thing that give me the most grief because I want them like. Loose and oversized, but I also want them tight at the wrist, and I have like stupid tiny wrists. And so going from loose, oversized sleeve down to super tiny wrist and actually tight at the wrist at the right ratio is going to give me so much grief, I'm sure.
Do you know what I will do to that poor haphazard pattern, right? So we'll make it in the same size. I'll make it in the same size you are, but I'll do it bottom up in the round and split. I just do the front, back, and stockinette, and then bind off my boat neck, and then do my sleeves in the round and make them tight because I like tight sleeves.
So you get 2 patterns out of this.
It makes more sense to me to do it that way, but that's the way I prefer to do it. So
yeah, no, that's fine. I just wanted like a super mindless knit. I just want to make some squares and sew them together and make some tubes and sew those on, basically.
Yeah. No, I think that makes a great deal of sense, and it's going to look amazing if you can make a slightly drapier fabric.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up my 13 mils for the next swatch.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, but
see if that helps you out any.
It's warm. It's nice. I am very happy with this. And it's so fast. This took like half an hour. This whole thing.
Yeah.
Can make a whole sweater in a weekend.
It's a thing.
Oh my gosh.
Really? You did not just say that.
Could be done in theory, is what I mean.
There you go.
Theoretically, could be done. I will not do this, but it could be done.
Can you not hear Asa right now? Well, Diana, you said it could take a weekend.
Yeah, just because it could doesn't mean it will. I say a lot of things.
just say it.
Oh, other thing that came in my box of yarn that I thought was just absurdly cute. Let's get some focus here, camera. Okay, it's really blown out, but it's a picture of sheep and it says "Thank you."
Oh,
EWE.
No.
Yeah.
The puns. The
puns. They sent me a punny card. I love it.
That is adorable.
And like, there's a handwritten note on the inside thanking me for supporting our family farm, and like some notes about the wool. So, revolutionwoolco.com is the place should anybody wish to order yarn from them. I am super pleased for the 6 hours that I've had this. Circle Our Lamb is the farm, and Revolution Wool Co. is the their like wool selling part of the farm.
Okay.
And of course, it's a Shopify store, which is how I fell down this rabbit hole in the first place.
Of course it was. All right.
I work at Shopify. I got to know about the Shopify stores, especially the local ones that, make yarn. It's important.
I believe that is a very good reason for it.
It's very
Speaking
important.
of bulky yarns, I cast it on for my Gabbro sweater.
Ooh.
So we just got us some ribbon going on here. Nothing super fancy. It's ribbon, guys. Oh, I know. Hold back your excitement. We're not even we're the width of my thumb. So we're half an inch of ribbing. That is what I've managed. But it's bulky, so that's 2 rounds.
Gosh.
I am reviewing some yarn for Kramer Yarns. This is their blueberry and their bulky wool, which is a American-made product, which is fine. I like it. I like my yarn with a touch of tooth when I'm making some things because I like merino and I like the tooth. I don't find it sensitive or a problem to wear around my body. So it is on the needles officially. How fast it will knit up? Well, I gotta have the review in before mid-December, so that's gotta happen.
So reasonably quick.
Reasonably quick. Thankfully, it's a bulky weight sweater. It shouldn't theoretically take too long, but I'm not allowed to start it till I'm done at least one sleeve, because otherwise I will put these sleeves off forever.
And then I definitely will win the race. So actually, yeah, work on the Gabbro sweater so that I can win the totally arbitrary other sweater race.
Like how your brain made that connection for you right now. It'll be the Gabbro sweater will be a slightly different sweater construction for me because I've not done it before. So that will be interesting to do. So I'm very excited, but I made myself promise only to get my cast on done, and then I had to finish my sleeves. So I lost a whole day's worth of knitting yesterday. So like I lost a good chunk of time where I could have finished the sleeve and gotten through my ribbing and into my shoulder increases and stuff. So kind of grumpy about the loss of that. However, it is what it is, and we move on.
Life happens.
Life is a thing. I had to explain to the boy on the internet that I was never going to stop being friends with my ex-boyfriends. He was going to have to deal with that.
Ooh, that is a red flag of insecurity.
It's like, no. And I game in some fairly male-dominated fields. I'm not going to stop talking to them either.
Ooh, yeah, no, red flag. Abort.
Oh, thank you.
All
right.
Abort.
Well, with that, we have run out of knitting things, I believe. And we can move into other things.
Ooh, is it time for wool gathering?
I believe it is time for the section where we put everything else.
That's fair. Let's start with the usual Patreon. Patreon is a method of financially supporting this podcast, should you wish to do so. You can find all that information over at our Patreon, which is linked in the description box or in the show notes. But essentially, with your monthly subscription of $1, $5, or $10, I believe our tiers are set at. I don't know. I didn't set up the Patreon.
I think so, and I did set up the Patreon.
There are 3 tiers. All 3 tiers will get you access to our Patreon-only Discord. It's lovely over there. It's quite fun. And also our weekly postings of Experimental Tuesday cooking blog posts.
Yeah, the latest one for me was a failure on crackers.
Ooh, the crackers failed. Okay.
Oh, I burnt those things. Oh, it was bad.
Oh, oops.
They were too thick. Whole story. When they say roll them out thin, they mean it.
So if you want to know about the cracker saga,
oh man,
come join us on Patreon.
That was. I'm doing them again because I'm not going to be one. I will not be bested by a recipe. That's not going to happen. Whatever. You don't always succeed at things when you first try them.
Nope. Definitely some of mine have been failures.
Failed spectacularly.
Even some of the ones I succeeded at, theoretically, like I generally succeeded at the kimchi and I still haven't eaten it and I should probably just get rid of it at this point. It's been a while. I made the kimchi a while ago.
Oh my.
I should probably reclaim some jars and put something else in the jars.
Sure. Oh boy. Okay. Well, that's a thing. Which moves it on to me, I guess. So a lot of Jocelyn talking going on next. Guys, we're doing a finish-a-thon.
Finish all the things.
Finish everything. The goal is to just help motivate and get everybody excited about getting stuff done. We're getting ready to wrap up 2020. So you know what? It sounded like a really good idea to me. So we're going to do it. Anything counts. Button bands count. Weaving in ends counts. It all counts. Crochet, knitting, cross stitch, it counts. If it is a craft, it counts. Used a glue stick, it counts. We're just here to celebrate the finishing of things. And it's a big time of year to finish things. So we're doing this across a couple platforms for everybody. So if you use Instagram and you post on Instagram, tag us with the hashtag NKP Finishathon 2020. You could also literally do the @ symbol and then literally tag us, and we'll see it both ways. But if you use the hashtag, everybody else can find it real easy. If you don't use Instagram, but you do use Facebook, we got a Facebook group, you guys. Join the Facebook group and you can post them in there. It is private, so if it's a gift for somebody and they're not in the group, they won't see it. If they are in the group, don't post it. Unless they know what's coming to them. And if you don't use either of those platforms, or you do watch us here, you can email us at northernnistpodcast@gmail.com, and we will get it that way too. We've been getting some amazing sort of entries. I don't want to say entries, that's the wrong one. Submissions, that's the right word.
Submissions.
For it. Yeah. So we're gonna do little galleries in the month of December on our podcast, so everybody can see all these completed projects that people have been doing. So don't let it just be the couple of people who finished 50 billion things. There are people out there like me who are just faster at finishing things. It's how we knit. It's anything, baby booties, bonnets, things we normally never count. They all count, and we would love to celebrate with you guys on the stuff that you get done as we wrap up this year. It just seemed like a good idea.
Yep, a celebration of finishing the things.
If you're knitting in another knit along and you finish for that entry, you would also just put it in to get rewarded and recognized for just completing a really cool thing. Because it counts. It all counts. Woohoo! Some of the photos are so
baking
pretty.
This week. Baking counts, right? We decided that?
Yeah, we decided baking counts. Cool. It's Christmas. Baking, of course, counts. It's the holiday season.
I'm going to do some baking this week because I have cookies to mail.
Make decisions in your life. I have cookies to put in the mail. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing we got to give you guys a heads up on is this is the last pre-recorded episode of the year, because we're doing it live all of December. So because without fail, December tends to be a busy month just on the average. And then Diana's decided to move 2 Decembers in a row.
Yep.
We're just...
Maybe next December I won't move. How about that?
I feel like that would be a lovely change of pace.
Yeah, wouldn't it? It'd be great.
Yeah, my mom would like to know if you know how to move in any month other than January. She's just like, there's 11 other ones to choose from.
Well, I mean, this last time I didn't just move in January. I also moved a little bit in February and mostly in March and still a bit in April, and finally in May I finished.
Way too convoluted.
Yeah,
way too convoluted.
Do not recommend. That was terrible. It was really bad.
Way too convoluted. So what we're going to do is, because we're going to be live, we're giving you guys the heads up right now. It's going to be noon Manitoba time, so noon Central Standard. And it's going to be on the Sunday, because we record on the Sunday. We're just not recording Sunday evenings like we normally do when we pre-record. We're going to record Sunday afternoon at noon, and it's going to be on the YouTubes, so it'll be up afterwards. The galleries will be included. So there's no editing for Jocelyn. I really got to watch my language. I swear sometimes. And there is no show notes for Diana to do, so it does free us up to do the other things that are going to be happening for both of us at the Christmas time. Mine isn't moving, but I'm doing Vlogmas, so I already have commitments going on. So we're both coming up on a busy month, and we wanted to definitely not stop recording. So doing it live just lets us still chat with each other every week and chat with you guys every week about what we're working on. It just also gives you the added benefit. If you happen to be free on a Sunday afternoon and you're baking, you can interact with us on the YouTube comments at that point. So that's the plan.
I like this plan.
It also took us 5 minutes tonight to figure out what was wrong with the audio. So
yeah, I still don't actually know what was wrong with it. But it started working, so you know, it's fine.
It's fine. It's kind of working in the end.
Just click the buttons until something works.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Don't forget, because it's December next month, we will also be releasing all the details for the January cast on for the podcast anniversary. So that stuff usually drops the first episode in December for everybody. So that information's coming up shortly too. Watch Diana go, oh my God, we made decisions about that.
Yeah, I vaguely remember we made some decisions about that.
So those are going on. I think that's all I had to do for Wool Gathering.
Yeah, that's everything I had.
Was that everything? Okay, good. If that's everything you wrote down, I'm going to consider that complete, and we can move on to the next section.
Great. It's more Jocelyn, because I have stopped reading books in favor of Critical Role. I'm on episode 55 of 118 or something. I'll get there eventually.
What's over 100? 118, 120?
I don't think it's 120 yet.
Well, we had this week off because I'm not behind, so there was no Critical Role for me this week. So there will be a new one for me this coming Thursday. So
I'm up to March 2019.
You're getting there.
Getting there.
And there
the only
is
thing that's saving me is the giant break for 2020.
There is that spring lockdown. Nothing happened for a while for everybody. All right. If we're into literature, then yeah, that's me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Which, whenever I start a statement like that, I'm not. But did we not start this section because you wanted to read more?
Yes, but that was before I fell down the Critical Role rabbit hole.
Okay. Sure. So I was participating in Tome Topple. We've never worried about Jocelyn's reading habits. They are excessive. And I was doing fine. I set myself incredibly large arbitrary goals that I figured I wouldn't meet because one of the books on my 2BR pile was massive. Even for a tome, which is a book over 500 pages, it's a big one. I got through SPQR, which is a history book of Rome by Mary Beard, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I quite liked it, and I jumped right into Rhythm of War. Now, Rhythm of War is 57 plus hours. It's 57 hours and change. I'm down to 23 hours and change. So I literally listened to a book like it was my full-time job this week.
Gosh.
Doing the dishes, knitting on anything, crocheting things. If I was not watching the Great British Baking Show, I was listening to Rhythm of War. Or I was asleep. Like that was how that was going to work for me. So I didn't make my goals in Tome Topple, but I absolutely got really far into Rhythm of War. So I'm happy. I feel like that's fine. I really enjoy the book. It's by Brendan Sanderson. It is the 4th of the Stormlight Archive series. These are the books that if you've been watching us for a while, you'll have heard the series mentioned before, and the hour increment on Audible just gets longer because we started with 42, and then we did 44, and then we were 48, and now we're to 57. I can't even imagine how big those books are. Like, my brain refuses to wrap its mind around it. And I mean, like, they're gonna be big books.
50 hours has got to be around 500 or 600 pages.
Okay, 22 hours is over 500 pages.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, by a metric
I was really
ton.
off there.
Yeah. I could look it up, which I probably should look it up. Yeah, because I obviously do a lot of reading of really large books, apparently. So we should be able to find this out. What am I doing? Why am I Googling? This is what Goodreads was built for. So you could look up books quickly. In theory, listen, dude, I don't feel like talking to you right now. I'll talk to you later. Let me tell you. Quick, how do you spell rhythm?
RHY.
Yeah, RHYTM.
THM.
THM. Oh man,
I know.
I'm highly educated.
Rhythm screws me up every time.
Oh, it's not an easy word to spell. Oh my goodness. All right. Book descriptions. Don't want that. Rhythm of War is 1,232 pages.
Okay, and it's 57 hours.
7 hours to read, yeah.
Okay, so, okay. Just because I like round numbers in my head, that's about 25 hours.
For 500 pages, yeah.
For 500 pages, okay.
Yeah, roughly, yeah. It's a big book. Big book. So I hope everybody who's reading it physically has their wrist brace on.
Yeah. Take breaks, do stretches.
Do stretches. But I'm super excited to have the continuation of the story going on. So like I'm all for it. By book 4, that many hours, you're attached to those characters. You're attached. Mm-hmm. You need to know what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know. So I was very, very excited about that. So hopefully I can continue making progress on that. Won't lie, kind of tempted to just binge watch the Great British Baking Show. Because baking shows.
I don't quite understand the binging of a baking show. Like, they're kind of nice, but I don't know. They don't grab me that way. I know they do for a lot of people, but they don't for me.
This is really nice. I like watching them make things. And they're not, those competitions aren't like overly aggressive with the people that they have on it. They're not like, I'm here to win at all costs. So it's not like Big Brother or what's that one where it's Find Your Husband. I forget what it's called. Yeah, it's got to be The Bachelor. So like those ones don't really catch my eye. This one's more like, try to make a dragon out of bread dough. What? Okay. How are you doing this?
Magic.
You've got 3.5 hours. Make 36 little identical, 2 different types of cupcakes. Huh?
Oof.
Okay. Nope. That I'll watch. That's fine. I also get to see and hear about recipes. I have no idea. Because especially the British one. Because there's so much, like, in the way that they do their sugars and their sweets are so different than how we do them.
Really?
They're just words coming out of their mouth. They're like, oh yeah, we grew up eating this. And I'm like, what? Nope. Sure didn't grow up eating that.
All right.
So I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I quite like it. So I am making my way through that. I will eventually get caught up on all the seasons and it'll be fine. But then I'll have to find something else to watch. But it's my kind of TV. Everyone's just, they're so excited when they do well and they're friends when they're done and they celebrate each other's accomplishments. And if they've got spare time and somebody else is stressing and they're under the gun, you see them helping each other sometimes. You're like, see, it's just good people trying to, excel at something that they really like. Like, I can get behind that.
That sounds lovely.
Mm-hmm. Also, holy Hannah, the volume of curd that is made.
What do you do with curd?
Well, they put it in everything.
Gosh.
And they flavor it entirely differently. And they're like, oh, you're making a Jell-O. They'll just make it from hand.
Sure.
Huh? I didn't even know till I was an adult you could get Jell-O out of anything other than a box. So
I mean, it's gelatin based. Does gelatin come as anything other than little granules that you soak in water? I actually have no idea.
They also come in sheets, apparently.
Today I learned.
The volume, their cakes are sponges.
Mm-hmm.
It's a slightly different cake because sometimes the main thing that's in there is whipped eggs. That's the only thing giving it lift because there's no leavening agents in there but whipped eggs.
Ooh, that's
I'm
a lot
like,
of whipping.
that is so different than how I bake. That is crazy talk. So of course I'm fascinated and want to try making things from British recipes, which is probably good because they use, the metric system,
Mm-hmm.
not imperial measurements. Probably good to brush up on my gram and ounce measurements. I haven't used those since high school baking class.
Probably want a kitchen scale if you don't already
Yup.
have one.
No. So I was like, yep, no, that makes sense. I need a new rolling pin anyway, and I'm done with European or with the rolling pin with the handles on the side. They drive me absolutely batty. So I finally get to retire the one I have. So I'm buying a French one, which is just the long tube.
Mm.
Buying one of those. I am done. Done. They also very rarely use fondant. Which I am so grateful for because if I use fondant, I have to make it from scratch because store-bought fondant's made from corn.
Mm-hmm.
They rarely use marshmallow. Like they just cream patisseries and mousses, and it's just an entirely different baking world. So I'm utterly fascinated. Like, oh, this is normal. I do this all the time. I'm like, what?
I want to eat these things now.
Okay, sure. Biscuits or cookies. That took me a while to get wrapped my brain around.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you have chocolate chip biscuits.
Yeah, and you're like, huh? Okay, no, I'm with you. What? Like, I've watched 3 or 4 attempts from different people and different episodes on an opera cake. First off, I didn't even know that was a thing. Now I need to eat it.
What is an opera cake?
It is a very thinly layered sponge and like mousse mixture. And it's layered up and it's got a thin layer of chocolate on the top, and then they spell the word opera on it.
Sounds decadent.
No, like I didn't even know what a princess cake was. What the is marzipan?
I have heard of marzipan. I don't really know what it is.
What's French pan? I've seen them making stuff with it. I have no idea what it tastes like. I don't know how to make it. I don't know if I'd like it, but they use it all the time.
Sounds like a lot of fodder for experimental Tuesdays.
I know. I'm just like, oh, there's going to be so much stuff for everyone who watches us who's over and who lives in like the UK. Are going to be like, what do you mean you've never done this before? I'll be like, I'm sorry. I have no idea. It's so new to me. Their ovens are fan assisted or not fan assisted, and there's 2 different temperatures listed. The heck's a fan assisted oven?
I think in North America we call that a convection oven.
I need to Google so many things. So many things. Oh gosh. So that's been me. That's been bringing me great delight. So that's fine. That's going on. So yeah, no, that's how the crackers got on because they made homemade crackers.
Okay.
I was like, who makes crackers from scratch?
I tried making crackers. I tried making crackers once a long time ago. It was semi-successful. I do recall a lot of burning.
The 2 that were tasty that I did eat need to be thinner, a little more cookie, not so much cracker. But I can't eat the fancy crackers. So if I could master a basic cracker recipe, I could just make fancy crackers.
And then they'd be extra fancy because they're homemade.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. I wouldn't make them all the time, but I would make them. Because I mean, I like fancy crackers. They smell great. I just can't eat them. They just make me so sick.
Yeah.
So, who knows? So that's it. And I have now babbled about the Great British Baking Show for a while. Oops.
I think that's everything then.
Cool. In which case, I will say until next week when we all see you live. I'm Jocelyn.
And I'm Diana.
And no matter where your week takes you, don't forget to knit.